All right, let's talk from the tactics side just a little bit. Here's one that's interesting. The presence of my gun will be enough to scare bad guys off.
Today's video is brought to us by Barrel Block. Barrel Block is an excellent dry fire training aid that we've used for years and recommend. It provides an easy to see indicator that your firearm is empty and safe for dry practice. It comes in all service calibers and can be installed and removed in seconds without disassembling your gun. It's an inexpensive, easy way to give more margin for safety, so go pick one up today.
Sometimes, I see a lot of guys, the presence of a gun, somebody's like, hey, give me your wallet, and they've got a knife, and you go, hey, you are not a good person, and I would like you to stop. And in Gunfight Rochambeau, gun beat knife, right? And then the guy goes, oh, I left the stove on. And he skitters off. Okay, cool. Well, crackhead threatens you with a knife, you pull a gun, he skitters off, you won. Very good, right? But of course, who's the one you're worried about? The one who goes, oh, you've got a gun? I bet you're not willing to use it. There are hardened criminals in our world and living in our town that they have had many guns pointed at them, and they don't care. Or, have you ever run into Methany? Or Matthew? We recently had one on the channel. It's not the one that I'm going to show you, but we recently had one on the channel of two cops show up. This dude is threatening a bunch of people in a hotel foyer with a knife. They call the cops because, of course, outsource your violence if you can. And cops show up pointing guns at him, and they're like, hey, dude, drop the knife. And he's like, you're not real cops. Those aren't guns. And eventually charges the cops with a knife and found out they were cops. And now those were guns. And they shot him. What we're going to see here is we're going to see this guy show up. Now imagine this is your home, okay? So you're going to see a dude show up at random, okay? So every news story I've had, these people have no relationship. And he's just going to show up and start ripping their front yard apart. He's going to start beating up the guy's truck. He's going to start picking stuff up. This is in Bakersfield, California. Now watch him show up here. He's just going to start banging on the door. It's like midnight. Banging and screaming and yelling, throwing like their pots and stuff. They got like plants sitting in the front yard. He's tossing stuff everywhere, throwing it at the truck, ripping up signs in the yard, trying to pull up the cactus. Dude, meth, not even once, y'all. Now, of course, this guy's relatively smart, so he calls 911 and says, yo, man, I need some help. Now, he's actually going to come outside, too, which is a mistake. He's going to come out from the other side here. Now watch. So he confronts him. Now watch. The light is a cop.
Hey, let me see your head. Hey, kill me. I don't give a fuck. Hey, what the fuck?
Did you hear what he said? He said, kill me. I don't care.
Get back there, man. Get back there. Hey, let me see your fucking head. Hey. You ain't see your fucking head.
Cop didn't do a great job of identifying himself.
Get the fuck back. Get the fuck back. Kill me.
Did you hear him say kill me? Go ahead, I dare you.
Get back. I think it's not even do it. Do it.
That was an ND.
Get the fuck back.
And then the Pikachu shows up, the taser. The cop shows up with the guy didn't have anything in his hands. It was an ND. Cop had an ND, actually. But what do you do when you point a gun at somebody and they go, yeah, sure, kill me? Now, you might go, fine, bang, he asked me to. Is that a good reason to shoot somebody? No. It's really not. Now, you might say, wait a minute, man. I was on my home. I pointed a gun at him. He kept coming. I was sure he was going to take it away from me and kill me with it. Okay, maybe we can justify that. But the presence of a gun will often scare away perps. The ones that it won't are the truly hardened criminals and people that are basically mentally incapacitated. So if they have contaminated thinking, that contaminated thinking can be because of mental illness, it can be because of drugs, it can be because of alcohol. Okay? I tell folks all the time, how many here have run into an angry, aggressive drunk? See somebody gets drunk, they get stupid and they get angry? Yeah, you've never run into a pot smoker who's gotten angry and aggressive, right? They want Twinkies and TV, okay? That's why I'm like, I don't care. I'll smoke all the cannabis you want. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Just don't get behind the wheel, right? Because you're not going to fight me. And all the cops I know, same thing, right? You run into somebody that's drunk, oh, man, we never know what we're going to get. You run into somebody that's stoned, you're like, I got Twinkies. And they're suddenly your best friend, okay? So what are you going to do when that idea that says, well, I'm never going to shoot somebody, but I carry a gun so that if I point it at somebody, I know they'll go away. Maybe yes, maybe no. Now, I'm also not of the mindset that says if you pull a gun, you better shoot them. There are times to point a gun at somebody and issue commands. There are times to do that. Again, if I'm across the counter here and I'm working at a convenience store, see this all the time. Some dude pulls a knife and says, give me this stuff in the till. I'll point a gun right at him. Back off, dude. Shoo, Fluffy. And you're like, you wouldn't just shoot him? I mean, maybe you feel like you got to, but if I shoot the guy, am I going to spend the rest of the day explaining to the constabulary? Yep, now I'm going to get attorneys involved. I'm going to get the rest of my day ruined. If I go, piss off. I'm not giving you anything. And he can't get me because he's across the counter, so I'm safe for the moment. And he runs off, guess what? Now I'm going to put the gun away and call the cops. Hey, I just pointed a gun at a guy who pulled a knife on me. I got it on video. Cops are going to show up, go, I'm surprised you didn't shoot that guy. Yeah, I felt like I didn't absolutely have to, so I didn't. High five. We'll go see if we can find this idiot. Much easier day. Much easier day. There are times that pointing a gun at somebody is the appropriate answer. I believe if you point a gun at somebody, you darn well better win the race to 911. You better darn well win it. Remember, what happens in a legal sense is the person who calls 911 first is generally called the victim. They're generally the person that is looking for help. And so, now that can be overcome later if they were instead a jerk. And if you didn't call 911, it could be possible that later on in the investigation, they realized, no, you were a good person, you were just stupid. But it sure sets a tone. And of course, if the first call is, hey man, this guy just pointed a gun at me and scared me to death, how do you think that first contact with law enforcement is going to go? Not great. That's going to be of the on the ground with your hands behind your back and handcuffs variety, okay? As opposed to potentially, hey man, I just had a guy threaten me with a knife. He ran off because I pointed a gun at him. Okay, cool, officers are inbound, put the guns away. I'll put it away as soon as he gets here. And you see the reds and blues, put it down. Hi, officer, it's me. I was the guy that had a knife. Did somebody pull a knife on me? He's gonna be like, hey, you got any guns on you? No, sir, I put them away in the house. Okay, cool, let's talk about that. What happened? Tell me what went down, blah, 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 blah. And now it's a different world. So I would always recommend, if you have to use force against anybody else for any reason whatsoever, and pointing a gun at somebody is absolutely using force, you should call the cops. You should call the cops, for sure.